Motion and second. Go
This
ahead.
bill just allows a voter to go into the polls with their phone for informational purposes only. They can't use it for any other purpose but for information. You know, the Secretary of State, we have an app now that has everything on it. So,
Any questions to the sponsor? Representative Wergo, you're not recognized. Chairman, excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Littleton, it says mobile electronic communication device. What if someone what if someone brings in like two-way radios or something? We're just doing with the phones, with the apps or iPads.
it's just the phone, just with an app.
Okay,
yes.
that's what I. Thank you. I appreciate that. Good bill.
Thank you.
Representative Parkinson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Littleton, I just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you.
It's a good bill.
Any further questions? Question's been called for. All those in favor of the bill going to full committee say aye. All those opposed, no. Bill goes out to
House
full
Bill
committee.
988 requires the County Election Commission to allow voters to use cell phones and other electronic devices at polling places in order to access information to assist the voter in making an election decision.
Thank you. Any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. What this amendment does is make it clear that the prohibition of photographing and taking videos within a polling place is not going to be used to squelch legitimate photography designed to capture election fraud. You know, if we're going to have people in, currently as drafted, what the bill says is that any voter using a mobile electronic or communication device as allowed in subsection A shall be prohibited from using the device for telephone conversations, recording or taking photographs or videos while inside the polling place. Obviously, we don't want people chatting on the phone and disturbing other voters. However, I think it is important that we don't inadvertently prohibit voters from using their cameras to prevent intimidation or fraud within the polling place. So what this amendment would say is use of videos or phones is prohibited except in a good faith effort to record unlawful activity, including but not limited to voter fraud or intimidation, so long as the voter immediately offers to provide a copy of the records, photograph, or other video to an election official at the polling location. So what does this amendment do? It says, look, if you're in a polling place, you can't chat on your phone, but if you see somebody committing voter fraud, you can take a picture of that person, but as a check to make sure this isn't done in an inappropriate way, you do have to immediately email or send that picture to one of the workers at the polling place. So that's what the amendment does. I'm concerned that if not amended, what this bill will do, it'll outlaw people using their cameras to capture voter fraud or intimidation in the polling place. Obviously, we don't want to do that, and so with that, I'd move passage of the amendment.
Representative Stewart moves adoption of amendment number 3, properly seconded. Discussion on the amendment. Representative Cassida.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, there's a reason why we have a committee system. Things like this have unintended consequences. Now, it sounds good. It sounds eloquent. But, ladies and gentlemen, just to throw something on the floor, you don't even consult with the sponsor. I mean, that alone should be a telltale sign that there's something wrong with this amendment. Next time, run the amendments by the member. Next time, let's use the committee process. That's where we do the heavy lifting. With that, Madam Speaker, I move this amendment to the table.
Thank you, Chairman Casta, for pointing out that my amendment is eloquent and well written, and I appreciate that concession. Take what I can get. Yeah, I think this is a pretty simple amendment, and I believe this bill's been rolled a number of times. There's been plenty of time for everyone to consider it. This isn't some sort of tricky financial issue. This is just, can somebody use their phone in a polling place to record voter intimidation? It's a simple amendment. I think everybody who is focused on having a fair election process should vote against the tabling motion. Thank you.
Representative Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm really disappointed we didn't put that amendment on because I think that was a clear, this bill is going to harm election integrity now. We're going to open up our elections to fraud, which I've heard since I've been down here that we're trying to stop election fraud. Well, now if a law-abiding citizen sees something happening in a polling place, we're going to have them committing a crime by trying to stop criminal activity. You know, in Davidson County 2 years ago, after the election, the director of elections for the state of Tennessee put out a 20-page report on the occurrences that happened in House District 50, my district, as well as Representative Jernigan's district, of all the improprieties that happened in that election. And a lot of that we were able to document with phones and video. But now we're going to have, law-abiding citizens committing a crime if they want to stop. I guess the gentleman from Williamson must be for voter fraud, so he wants to talk, so I'll let him speak.
Representative Cassidy.
Madam Speaker, in our rules, there is decorum. Part of that decorum, you say, Madam Speaker, when you speak, matter sponsor, and you don't try to be insulting or infantile. And if members cannot abide by House rules, then maybe they lose their right to speak.
Aye, 75-23 nay.
Senate Bill 597 having received a constitutional majority hereby declare passed without objection. Motion to reconsider is tabled. Next bill.